Alright, let's see. Is this gonna work, guys? Is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? They gonna let me go live? Okay, I am live right now, it looks like. This is awesome. This is my first live stream from my home computer, which is pretty awesome. I've tried it from my car a couple times. But anyways, guys, if you're viewing this, I am very excited because the breaking news is, I don't think anyone's viewing this right now, but basically, I've got one concurrent viewer. I wonder who that is. Maybe I'll wait for some people to get in here. I feel like there should be at least like 2 or 3 people in here. I don't know, but I'm just gonna wait till I get... Oh, I just got a like, so somebody is here. Okay, well, hey, whoever you are watching this, if you can hear me, give me a something, I don't know, link, say something to me in the chat, and that would be awesome. Let me see if that works for me, but I want to talk to you guys. Hello? Alright, guys, so here's the most exciting news, is that YouTube unshadow banned me. And I'm going to show you guys how I'm proving this. Basically, out of nowhere, out of the blue, they like lifted this ban that I was 100% convinced existed because I was making, you know, decent content here and there, making videos, but I was getting like 5 views, even though I already had like almost 900 subscribers. And when I hit 900, after doing some interesting videos on Pizza Fence, I'm going to call it Pizza Fence because that's what the guys over at Edge of Wonder call it. Because if you talk about the real word, you know, you get shadow banned, I guess. I don't know. So I'm going to avoid that word. So I avoid getting subbed again. But now I have 2,800 subscribers. So I'm super excited that I've got unshadow banned, I guess. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's the fact that I was making less content and I made some kind of more generalistic videos. I don't know what it was. I really don't. But it's giving me the chance to make this channel live again. So I can't tell you how excited I am. I've got a lot of interesting things to share with you guys tonight, content-wise. So I've got some actual content to talk about. But yeah, first things first, I just, you know, I don't know if I should do a dance or something, but, yeah. What are you saying? Wow, I would like to have 500 plus subs. Oh, hi. All right, healthy living and other things. Well, you know, maybe you will. Maybe you will. Keep making content. Just keep doing it. What I've heard from a lot of people on YouTube, all kinds of different platforms on social media is the difference between the successful ones and the non-successful ones is you just keep going. Even if no one's watching, you keep going and you keep getting better, and eventually you get some interesting content that people actually want to watch, right? So, anyways, guys, so thank you again. If you're watching this, thank you so much. I have put in over a year's worth of work and passion into this channel to try to get a following, to just try to educate people on what's going on in the world. Honestly, in a very, very tight nutshell, you know, a lot of the things that people research, people especially on the right, people that are open-minded about how the world actually works, you should know the world is very interconnected because there is a one world government that is interconnected. And so when you see a bunch of conspiracies that seem to like play off of each other, a lot of the time you're right. So one of the biggest conspiracies that no one really reports on that I do focus on quite a bit is the fact that communism and Satanism are very related. Okay, communism is Satan's basically tool here on earth. And hey, if you're not a Christian, don't stop watching just yet, because let me tell you, as a Christian myself, I've been all over the place. Okay, you know, I've been faithful, I've been non-believing, I've been, you know, it's been a rough path, but at where I am right now, I cannot tell you how believing and passionate and faithful I am. I believe in God and in the devil more than ever. And when I say I believe in him, I mean I know he exists, and I know that he is the enemy, and I know that he wants to bring misery to everyone here on earth. And he is, right now, in my honest to God opinion, it seems like he's winning. Like, he's literally winning over the majority of the hearts and minds of the children of earth right now. And it's terrifying. And so, you know, there's a lot of great people out there in our space, a lot of people speaking truth. But a lot of anyone that's Christian and doing the same thing at the same time gets banned and blacklisted, a lot like what happened to Alex Jones. And, you know, the saddest thing about that is I made a video with a call to action to try to get some people, some believers out here in Sodom and Gomorrah of the San Francisco Bay Area to come and protest what YouTube was doing to him. Nobody responded. Nobody even commented. The video was probably shadow banned. It got less than 12 views initially after the first week. So that was when I was shadow banned. And now the shadow ban has been lifted. I got one video that just out of nowhere has over 150,000 subscribers. You know, what? That's not normal, guys. It's not normal for a channel that's getting like 5 to like 20 views per video to all of a sudden get like let's just call it a crap ton. Okay, that's not normal. So you know, I'm calling them out. But hey, thank you, YouTube. Thank you for being nice. Thank you for believing in freedom of speech and realizing that if they continually ban people like me, sorry, my video is getting all blurry. If they continually ban people like me with their shadow bans and their crazy algorithms, guess what? We're going to go over to BitChute, or we're going to go over to Gab. We're going to find alternatives, and we're going to take so many people with us that you will become irrelevant. And so I think they're realizing that, and they're letting people like me get some breathing room. So, you know, hopefully they're not going to shadow ban me again. But it was, what they did to me was rather devastating in my opinion. So anyways, whatever. All of a sudden, I have not 1,000, not 2,000, but almost 3,000 subscribers. Like, what the F? Like, not long ago, I had at my peak, I had almost exactly 900, and then I got shadow banned, and I didn't get any new subscribers for literally close to a year. It's like 9 months, and it just started trickling down. I started losing some, and every once in a while, I get like 1 or 2. But basically, it went from 890 down to, like, at the lowest is like 845 or something, and now it's like way back up. Let me show you. I'm going to show you guys the analytics. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to share my analytics with you guys just so you guys believe in what I'm talking about, okay? Because it's rather shocking, and I think showing is a lot more powerful than telling these days, because in our day and age, I strongly believe that we're not in a post-truth era. Like, truth matters a lot. Everyone really cares about truth at the end of the day, especially people that are truth seekers. So, all right, guys. So I'm going to show my screen right now. This is just my analytics. I got to check that I'm not revealing anything secret or something to my life. No, I don't think so. All right, guys. So look at this. This is the overview of my channel. The overview. So not long ago, I was getting nothing. Like this is view time. View time. So in between the 15th, when I was still, well, let's see, it started cranking up right around the 14th. All right, so at the 14th, something changed, right? Something changed massively. And what's happening? Look at this. This is insane. Okay, and now it's gone way back down because I haven't made any content in a while. But it's been days since I just realized that they lifted the shadow ban, I guess, days ago. And so I want to, you know, tell everybody, hey, this is pretty cool. Maybe this is happening for other people. So I'm going to start making content again, see what happens. But yeah, I made one good video, I guess, and a lot of people saw it. So let me go and show you if anything actually happened on between the 14th and 15th. Because between the 14th and 15th, I didn't publish anything. I didn't publish anything, guys. And yet, look, between January 9th and March 5th, I did nothing. Nothing changed. Nothing. And I mean, it's pretty nuts that it happened like this, you know. I hope this is interesting to you guys. Please leave comments. Leave comments. I will read your comments if they're interesting. healthy living and other things, hey, you know, go sub that guy. He wants 500 really bad, I guess. He's the only guy in here making comments. I'd rather hear from all of you, though. Shilling is not interesting to me. But anyways, yeah, so between those 2 days, nothing happened. The algorithm changed. It's almost verifiable. I haven't made hardly any content. Like, literally 3 videos since December. Okay? And boom, out of nowhere, one of my older videos, a very old video, actually, just got super hugely popular. What video was it? What video was it? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Is it even viewed? Is it even on here? Where's the video? The video that got super popular was me commenting on San Francisco. And for whatever crazy reason, I can't even see it here. I made a video commenting on how San Francisco is a crap hole, which is true. And I can't even see it on my own damn channel here. So pretty weird, guys. I don't know why I can't see that video, but yeah, it's not even here. So whatever, guys. Let's get into some more interesting content. So today I want to talk a little bit about this book I'm reading. So I'm gonna change it up here. Boom. All right, guys. So enough on proving that I was shadow banned and now it's been lifted. Now I want to talk a little bit about this book, The Naked Communist. So if you are under the impression that communism is irrelevant, we defeated the communists with the Soviet Union or anything like that, I have to say, honestly, you are very far from the truth, in my opinion. The biggest communist threat on Earth right now is twofold. One, the remnants of communism in China, and the very powerful communist movement in America, which has been subverted largely by globalists. And well, it was never subverted. It was always a movement of the globalists, the 0.0001% of the population. Communism has never been a movement of the downtrodden masses. Now, I've done a ton of research. I've read a ton of books about Russia and Russian history, and that's why I use that funny. The picture for this live stream, by the way, I use that weird font to remind everybody that, well, one, Russia matters, I guess, but two, not too long ago, the left was saying that all of us, you watching this video and me making this video, we are Russian bots. We're not even real people. We're Russian bots. How ridiculous is the left these days? I don't have words to describe it, honestly. It's really, really insane. Anyways, going back to The Naked Communist, I want to do a book review mid this live stream about how amazing this book is. For one, Cleon Skousen, amazing guy, amazing author, amazing book, good read. It flows well. I found out that guy's Mormon. If you guys watch my channel, you should know that I was raised Mormon. I'm kind of more of an generalist Christian now, but kind of an agnostic Mormon still, I guess. Like, I want to believe that it's the most accurate version of Christianity. But anyways, I don't really care about that. I'm just kind of a Christian now. Anyways, guys, so communism, what I learned in this book is really interesting. Basically, you learn a lot about the movements of communism. You learn about the 45 goals of communism and how all of them, except for one, has yet to be completed. And I'm going to read some of these goals because a lot of them are really sadistic. I mean, they're really sick goals. Goals that are clearly dystopic and engineered to ruin human lives, to really just make life on Earth hell. Hell on Earth. Like, that is one of the many proofs I use for why I believe communism is engineered by Satan. And yes, in other words, I am saying people like the early Bolsheviks and especially Karl Marx. I mean, I think he was inspired by Satan. Honestly, I do believe that because this book, better than anything on earth, really paints just how sapping of freedom communism is. It's designed to destroy free will and the will to live, and basically destroy happiness. Like, you know, the Constitution and the Bible do say that, you know, man should be alive that they might have joy. I'm sorry, I think that's actually a quote from the Book of Mormon. Sorry, guys. But still, freedom promotes happiness. It really does. And communism is all about taking away your freedom and your freedoms and happiness. So to give you some examples of just how life-sapping communism is, if you live under the Soviet Union, for example, if you just wanted to change jobs, you weren't happy anymore, you're bored, whatever, you had to have permission from the state. And if you disobeyed, if you somehow left that job or quit that job without permission, you would be sent to the gulags. And the Gulag Archipelago, written by Alexander Solzhenitsyn, is the best book on earth. I mean, this is good, but this is not going to compare to the Gulag Archipelago if you want to read a single book on why communism is the worst thing on earth. If you want to read a single book to just rip your damn heart out and convince you forever that communism should never be tried again, ever, that's the book. Okay. So I'm going to read some of the goals in this book of communism, but before I do so, I want to mention what I find really interesting about this book, because the way it's written is just so fascinating. Because in communism, which is a sadistic conspiracy from the start, because it requires you to subvert reality, it requires you to destroy a government that happens before, and then in place of the government that was before, you replace it with total control by a dictator, an evil dictator usually, because that dictator, no matter what, gets ultimate power, and ultimate power corrupts absolutely. So basically what we read is the author is genius, because he tiptoes when necessary so that he doesn't come across as exposing the New World Order or the Illuminati or the globalists, whatever you want to call them. He tiptoes around those topics because he doesn't want to sound conspiratorial. W. Cleon Skousen was in the FBI for almost his entire career, okay? So he understands what's going on in the world. I'm quite sure he understands what the Illuminati is doing, but he doesn't want to have his book, you know, bashed too badly, and so he tiptoes when necessary. And so you'll read certain things that are just so fascinating throughout this entire book. You'll read several times of things that clearly depict what sounds like parts of the U.S. government working for a deep state, which literally promotes the USSR. And I mean literally, the USSR would not have existed without America. It would have not existed without globalists like the Roosevelts, and especially Rothschilds, and most importantly, the family I'm thinking of, the big oil family, the Rockefellers. So the Rockefellers, John D. Rockefeller was just one of the most important characters in the world for promoting the USSR and keeping the USSR alive. At any given point during the USSR's existence, basically, they were getting subsidized wheat and other food parcels from America. They were never able to grow their own. And if you want to understand fully why the Russians were never able to grow enough of their own food source, I mean, basically, in a nutshell, it's because everyone living in the USSR hated their life, and they didn't want to work because they're forced to never get profit. They had no will to work harder. And when you're farming, if you're too lazy as a farmer, plants can die. And when a lot of plants die, you can create a famine. And if you create a famine, millions of people die. And especially when the government realized that there was kulaks, which are wealthy farmers that were more successful at farming than other farmers, they went and they arrested those people and sent them to gulags. And so the only farmers left were the lazy ones. And so that created a famine. And I'm skipping over the worst parts of it, where the USSR actually destroyed wheat harvests from Ukraine to teach the kulaks a lesson, and they actually destroyed so much wheat and other products like potatoes that it killed like 50 million Russians. So honestly, in my opinion, if someone had a brain, had to compare Nazi Germany with the USSR, I would have picked copying or trying to try Nazi or nationalistic socialism again before trying communism again, because communism, everyone suffers. Everyone suffers. You make a secret police that polices everyone, and if you read the Gulag Archipelago, it's like hell on earth. You report your neighbors, you report on your family, you report on anybody, and if any of you don't rat on each other, then they'll throw your whole damn family into prison in Siberia. Okay, so there's no way to win under communism, because the only way they have to enforce their centralized version of rule is by threatening you all the damn time. So you're always under pressure, you're always stressed. If you want to see an example of this, watch like season 4 to the end of the TV show The Americans, and you'll see it, and it's just devastating. It's so sad to watch, but I can't recommend Gulag Archipelago by Alexander Solzhenitsyn enough. Anyways, so I'm going really fast, but I'm going to read some random excerpts from this book right now, because it's really interesting how he tiptoes around the globalists helping the USSR exist. But in reality, the USSR would not exist without America. America invented them, and then they pretended to be fighting them during the Cold War, but in reality, we invented them and we sustained them. And without America, the USSR would have never been a threat, ever. So the globalists made the threat. It's how they always work. It's called the there's a word for it, but it's when you have basically a thesis and an antithesis, and you throw them together and you get synthesis. And so basically a thesis of what a desire is, you need to invent the opposite of it. That's your antithesis. And then together, once you've combined the two, you get synthesis, which is the desired outcome of what you wanted, basically. And so that's what globalists do all the time. It's what Rothschilds have done. They've always bet on two sides of the road. And so they had to invent the USSR. They had to invent someone that had the power of threatening America and making America do as they wanted, and making America go into insane debt and pay the globalists while they're at it. So this is nothing new. It's been done for hundreds of years by people like the Rothschilds. So anyway, so we're going to read a little bit about how Russia was secretly supported by the U.S., and without the U.S., you know, Russia would have never existed, and the USSR was never truly a threat to America. We made it so, or the globalists did. All right, so here's part of chapter 8. I've highlighted some random parts, and I just want you to hear some random bits. This is a section of chapter 8 called "Communists Claim Credit for Starting World War II." Second paragraph. In 1939, Hitler seized Memeland in Lithuania and was prepared to march into Poland. However, at this point he hesitated. Russia wanted Poland too. As a matter of fact, Russia held the balance of power in Europe, and Hitler did not dare take steps which would start an all-out war with the West unless he was assured that Russia would not interfere. Hitler therefore made overtures to Stalin to sign a non-aggression pact. To the astonishment of the world, Stalin accepted. This was meant that Hitler could go to war with the assurance that Russia would not interfere. Now, that's just the beginning here. So that call was made by globalists, not so much Stalin. Stalin ruled Russia during very important times, like World War II, but where are the quotes I really want to get to? Because the quotes I really want to get to are about how the U.S. could have crushed Russia numerous times over and chose not to. Sorry, I'm wasting you guys' time. I'm sorry. World War II moves closer to the United States. In spite of the scorched earth policy of Russia, the Nazi troops successfully extracted their supply. No, that's not that interesting. Oh, yes. Story of America Lend-Lease to Russia. This is important. This is good stuff right here. All right. So Lend-Lease was a policy where America was giving them all this food and grain and stuff. So let's just read some of these excerpts. This American policy of generosity immediately began to manifest itself. Billions of dollars of Russian lend-lease were authorized. Even the deliberate sacrifice of American self-interest was evident in some of the orders received by U.S. military services. An order to the Air Service Command, dated January 1st, 1943, carried this astounding mandate. The modification, equipment, and movement of Russian planes have given first priority, even over planes for the U.S. Armed Forces. That's right, we were making their planes for the war. All right, 2 paragraphs later, General John R. Dean, for example, who was in Moscow as chief of the U.S. military mission, turned down a Russian request for 25 large 200 horsepower diesel marine engines because the engines already sent to Russia were rusting in open storage. From all appearances, were being stockpiled for post-war use. Furthermore, the engines were badly needed by General MacArthur in the South Pacific. After hearing General Dean's decision, who rejected it, the Russians appealed to Harry Hopkins, head of the Lend-Lease program, who overruled General Dean. During the following 2 years, a total of 1,305 of these big, military-grade engines were sent to Russia at the cost to the American taxpayers of $30,745,000. That's rounded down, actually. So going on, that doesn't sound like very much, but going on, it gets worse. An analysis of these lists of other things sent over Russian Lend-Lease, showed that according to Russian records, the communists received over $11 billion worth of Lend-Lease, and that in spite of the legal restrictions against it. The diplomatic strategies included $3 billion plus worth of American goods paid for by the American taxpayers, which definitely does not appear to be authorized by the Lend-Lease Act. So we broke our own rules all the time to support Russia because they could not support themselves. We also sent over almost $400,000 worth of notions and cheap novelties, women's jewelry, household furnishings, tackle, fishing tackle, lipstick, perfume, dolls, bank vaults, playground equipment, and qualities of many other types of illegal non-military. Okay, so this is just like, the list keeps going on, but I want to just skip ahead to a much more interesting part where when we were in the Korean War, there was decisive victories that we could have had over the Chinese, the communist Chinese, that were fighting America in North Korea, that helped set up North Korea, and we were ordered not to do so. So I've just found the area here, I think. So he was forbidden to bomb, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so General MacArthur is a really interesting character in U.S. history because he basically is very much proof of how our government, the U.S. government, has been subverted, and globalists have been keeping America from actually being sovereign for quite some time, in my opinion. So here we go. I'm just going to jump in. So the UN and the U.S. were fighting communists in North Korea. So this is the Korean War. The UN lines were cut to ribbons as their wall of defense was pushed back to and below the 38th parallel. General MacArthur could scarcely believe that the Chinese communists would dare to risk a massive retaliation of the United States atomic bombing air force by this inexcusable assault on UN forces. That's right, the communist Chinese were fighting UN forces, and they're part of the UN. But the communist Chinese were not on the UN. It was the nationalist Chinese at the time. Okay, so he couldn't believe that they would make this inexcusable assault on the UN forces. However, what he did not know, but soon discovered, was the appalling fact that the Chinese had already been assured by their intelligence officers that the diplomats in Washington, London, and New York were not going to allow MacArthur to retaliate with the U.S. Air Force. MacArthur was going to be restricted to limited warfare. It was in this hour that General MacArthur found that pro-communist forces in the UN and left-wing sympathizers in the State Department were swamping the policies of the White House, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and those who were in charge of the Korean War. He found that vast supplies, which he badly needed, were being diverted to Europe in accordance with point 1 of the State Department conference. He was specifically restricted from following Chinese jets to their bases or bombing the Manchurian Railroad, which was dumping mountains of supplies on the north banks of the Yalu River. He was forbidden to bomb the Yalu Bridge, over which troops and supplies were funneled, and his own supplies and replacements were cut back to the point where his ability to do a counteroffensive became strategically difficult, if not impossible. The final blow came when the diplomats flatly turned down the Chiang Kai-shek's enthusiastic offer to send thousands of trained nationalist troops from Formosa to fight in Korea. So now he's in charge of the nationalist troops too, because the communists in China took over. Over a period of 4 months, General MacArthur watched the slaughter resulting from the stalemate policies. Finally, he could not contain himself no longer. He violated a presidential gag order dated December 6, 1950, and answered a written inquiry from Congressman Joseph W. Martin concerning the inexplicable reverses which UN forces were suffering in Korea. The general's letter, giving recommendations for winning the war, was read in Congress April 5, 1951. 5 days later, General Truman ordered MacArthur summarily withdrawn from all commands. Let that sink in. General MacArthur was relieved by General Matthew B. Ridgway, and he returned to the United States completely perplexed by the sudden termination of his military career. If everyone doesn't know, General MacArthur is like a very famous general. Like, he did amazing things for the U.S. during World War II and later. So, it was not until he landed in San Francisco and was met by the first wave of shouting, cheering, and admiring fellow citizens that he realized that the sickness in the American body politic was not in its members, but only in one corner of its head. It will be recalled that 2 more years of military stagnation followed the recall of General MacArthur. Subsequently, hearings before congressional committees permitted General Mark Clark, General George E. Stratemeyer, General James A. Fanfleet, Admiral Charles Joy, and others to explain what happened to their commands in Korea. Each one verified the fact that the military was never permitted to fight a winning war. The diplomats had imposed upon them a theory called communist containment, which in actual operation resulted in the containment of the UN fighting forces instead of the communists. It soon became apparent that the Korean War had been run by the same team and according to the same politics as those which resulted in the fall of China to the communists. All right, that's enough. That's enough from the book, basically, guys. Let me go to some of the amazing goals here in the book. So I've only highlighted a select number of them to keep it interesting. But all right, so goals of communism in this book. There's 45 goals, only one of which has not been done, basically. All right, so promote the UN as the only hope for mankind. This is goal number 11. If its charter is rewritten, demand that is to be set up as a one-world government with its own independent armed forces. In this paragraph, the UN is described as a second try for the New World Order. However, the multitude of treaties, programs, and agendas that promote socialism and the dismantling of Western values has discredited it, and as a unifying organization, it does not have freedom's best interest in mind, but seeks to centralize world power in a single body. So it's speaking evil of the U.S. Later down the thing, I highlighted subservience to the world's collective will and the institutionalization of a new moral structure superseding the people's will. Sounds creepy. Goal number 12, resist any attempt to outlaw the Communist Party in America. Famous quote there. Goal number 14, continue giving Russia access to the U.S. Patent Office so they could steal stuff. Goal number 15, capture one or both of the political parties in the United States. Goal number 16, use technical decisions in the courts to weaken basic American institutions by claiming their activities violate civil rights. They're doing that still so much today. Oh my God. Number 17, get control of the schools. Use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda. Soften the curriculum. Get control of teachers' associations. Put the party line in the textbooks. How creepy is that? Later down the paragraph about that goal, it says, SATs have long been used to qualify students for college. The average scores have been falling for years. And this is a recent revised version of this book, by the way. This is like the 4th edition or something. I don't know. Goal number 18, gain control of all student newspapers. In the paragraph below, I highlighted, with the independent voice came a withdrawal of helpful faculty guidance. Student newspapers stopped being useful sources of information and were reduced to a glorified opinion piece, or glorified opinion pieces that ranted against the cause du jour, or were further reduced to being only a forum for venting and to satisfy one's own vanity to be seen in print. How true is that? No one gives a crap about student newspapers because they don't report on anything. All right. Use student riots to foment public protests against programs or organizations which are under communist attack. So, yeah. Goal number 20, infiltrate the press. Get control of book review assignments, editorial writing, and policy making positions. Now, keep in mind, they have to try to control this platform, YouTube, because if they don't control this platform, YouTube, this doesn't matter because you and I can communicate. You and I have gone around the press. The press can't be controlled anymore, so they have to control things like YouTube, which is why we've had the many crazy instances of policing, basically, and censorship on this platform. Goal number 21, gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and pictures, like I was just saying. Goal number 22, continue discrediting American culture by degrading all forms of artistic expression. An American communist cell was told to eliminate all good sculpture from parks and buildings. Substitute shapeless, awkward, and meaningless forms. Later down the paragraph here, I also highlighted another degeneration of artistic expression is in music and related performance videos. It took only one single generation to shift production of popular entertainment from performance content that appealed to most audiences to the soft-core porn raunchiness of Madonna, Lady Gaga, Rihanna, Miley Cyrus, and many others. These women will pass from the scene and will be replaced by others in years to come. As you can see, this is a modern book. It's been revised many times to stay relevant. Later down the same paragraph, they're spending millions to enjoy it. Oh, the porn and this and that. And then it says, going backward into brutality is made easier when a culture stops promoting its finest values. Goal number 23, control art critics and directors of art museums. Our plan is to promote ugliness, repulsive, meaningless art. Now, I'm going to just interject here and say that the reason why they don't want good art is because good art inspires people. Communism doesn't want you inspired. It wants you literally just bogged down to the point where you're hardly even alive, not even thinking. Okay? They don't want you to have independent thought or to get inspired to do great things. They don't want you to do great things or to be inspired to do anything with your life. You work your job. You're a slave. You're a slave. We're all tax slaves. Goal number 24. Eliminate all laws governing obscenity by calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and free press. So, thus porn is free, or it's available to all of us. It's been like that for so long that I don't know. You can't put some of these genies back in the box. Too many people are addicted to porn now. Goal number 25. Break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. Something I've done kind of not intentionally, but I've noticed over the years is when I look back into the movies of the 80s, 90s, and to today, it's almost like a cascading gradient, a noticeable gradient of how much nudity and skimpy clothes and degrading material about drugs and drug use, promoting drug use. All of it's just grown over time, you know. It's like a funnel effect or something. I don't know. Goal number 26. Present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. Goal number 27. Infiltrate the churches and replace revealed religion with social religion. Discredit the Bible and emphasize the need for intellectual maturity, which does not need a religious crutch. Goal number 28. Eliminate prayer and any phase of religious expression in schools on the grounds that it violates the principle of separation of church and state, even though we're a country founded by God. It's in our damn Pledge of Allegiance that we're founded by God. So, you know, I don't know when the separation of church and state became a thing, but maybe it would have been a lot better if we kept Christianity in the church schools. Yeah. Goal number 29, discredit the American Constitution by calling it inadequate, old-fashioned, out of step with modern needs, a hindrance to cooperation between nations on a worldwide basis. Now, this one is big to me, actually, because the paragraph below is really powerful, so I'm going to read it. A living and malleable Constitution has been the prevailing view in academic circles for 2 generations. Nearly all progressive politicians declare the Constitution a living document that must change with the times. By that they mean it must be allowed to evolve and remain changeable, like a mound of soft clay that can be sculpted into anything, and into anything the majority party wants, so long as it remains clay. Never answered in these arguments is the question, which rights protected by the Constitution are now old-fashioned? Property, speech, self-defense, contracts, copyrights, representation, the right to vote politicians into and out of office, association with whomever one pleases, free will, the freedom to try, buy, sell, and fail. Which of these is now out of date? Which of them is out of step? What about the constitutional structure of government that protects all of those rights from being usurped by a kingly ruler or a dictator? All changes that come from this effect to remold the Constitution have shifted political power away from the people and into the fists of their eloquent and persuasive leaders. Let's call them dictators / globalists / anyone from the CFR. Goal 30, discredit the American founding fathers. Present them as selfish aristocrats who had no concern for the common man. And today they're also calling them racists, every single one of them. Okay? Goal number 31, belittle all forms of American culture and discourage the teaching of American history on the ground that it was only a minor part of the big picture. Give more emphasis to Russian history since the communists took over. Sorry, that's crazy. I'm so glad that was not a thing when I was a kid. If it ever became a thing, I would have been shocked. Let me explain this, though. Check this out. In the paragraph from this one, I have to read this part because it'll shock you. In 2004, for example, a world history textbook called History Alive, The Medieval World and Beyond, was adopted for 7th graders. Upon reviewing its content, parents became very angry, understandably so, and complained that it was an indoctrination tool of Islam. Chapters 8 and 9 in particular taught Islamic prayer, religion, and culture in great depth and detail. And in the same book, Jesus, the author of the world's largest religious text, with more than 2 billion adherents, is mentioned only twice. According to concerned parent groups, the majority of world religions were given only a paragraph of explanation. They want to take the 10 Commandments off the steps of the Supreme Court, but you're going to teach my 12-year-old son how to read and pray to Allah? Asked Jim Shelf of Lodi, California, one of the concerned parents. I mean, this is insane, guys. This is real stories, real information here. Also, the textbook mentioned basically Judaism and Christianity as a unworthy of consideration religion on the basis of world religions. So under parental pressure, the textbook was removed from many schools, but was continued to be used in other parts of the country. All right. It also did not teach American exceptionalism at all, which used to be a big thing. I've never even heard of American exceptionalism until I started reading books. Goal number 32, support any socialist movement to give centralized control over any part of the culture. Am I still alive, by the way? Yeah, MacArthur was murdered, I believe, by the way. Yeah, thank you. Oh, Hegelian dialectic. Yes. Synthesis plus antithesis equals synthesis. Thank you. Healthy living and other things. You're on board, dude. It's a Hegelian dialectic. Okay. Sorry. Support any socialist and give centralized control over to any part of the culture, education, social agencies, welfare programs, mental health clinics, etc. So let me read this part. New attempts at centralized control in America are a daily occurrence in Washington, D.C. Such attempts are no longer checked or challenged, but are usually accepted as routine and normal. For decades, the government's various regulatory agencies have been setting new rules that carry weight of law. The original Constitution forbade this. It made it clear that a distinction between the three branches of government and stated in no uncertain terms, all legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in Congress, which shall consist of a Senate and House of Representatives. The Constitution does not grant the Congress the power to delegate those legislative powers to the executive branch or to anyone else. As John Locke stated, the legislative cannot transfer the power of making laws to any other hands, for it being but a delegated power from the people who they who have it passed cannot pass it to the others. And yet this has just happened many-fold, or many times. Anyways, I'm adding some words sometimes. Sorry, guys. The actions and operations that fulfill Goal 32 are deeply entrenched in almost every layer, aspect, and operation of the federal government today. All right, skipping ahead. Goal number 34, eliminate the House Committee on Un-American Activities. That really sucks because that was what was helping the country fight communism. And it has yet... I'll read this because it's gone. So, the HUAC, or House Committee of Un-American Activities, was created in 1938 to track subversive activities in the U.S. In 1939, its name was changed to the House Committee on Internal Security, and in 1975, it was abolished altogether. The next goal number 35, discredit and eventually dismantle the FBI. That's a long paragraph, but the FBI is pretty important, I would say, even though it's been corrupted by globalists big time. Skipping ahead, goal number 38, transfer some of the powers of arrest from the police to social agencies. Treat all behavioral problems as psychiatric disorders, which no one but psychiatrists can understand or treat, which is really interesting. I'm just going to go on a little rant and say how every time the left really hates someone, one of the first tactics they try, it always fails, luckily. But think about this. They always try to characterize someone as mentally unstable and unfit for office. They tried it with Trump. They tried it hard. They always try it. Anyway, luckily there's psychologists with brains in this country. So it'll never work anymore because psychiatry is not ruled entirely by the left anymore because it's just a good paying job these days because of the pharmaceutical industry. Yeah. Anyways, goal number 39, dominate the psychiatric profession and use mental health laws as a means of gaining coercive control over those who oppose communist goals. Later down that paragraph, this is interesting history. In 1962, Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy ordered the highly decorated General, Major General Edwin Walker into an insane asylum for a 90-day evaluation because Walker's political views were opposite of Kennedy's. Another psychiatrist protested and Walker was relieved after 5 days. He was locked up for 5 days. He's a decorated Major General. Okay, Kennedy received no harm from this horrifying violation of human rights. Actor Sean Penn called the conservatives, the Tea Party members, to be forcibly institutionalized by executive order. These, he said, so there's a quote, "There's a mental health problem in Congress. These are our American brothers and sisters, and this is a cry for help." End quote. Okay, skipping ahead. Goal number 40, discredit the American family as an institution. Encourage promiscuity and easy divorce. Boy, is that... You know, it's the one good thing about millennials is that they're trying to correct that because they realize that life sucks. Life really sucks when they divorce while you're a child. Luckily, my parents didn't divorce, but I have so many friends whose parents did divorce that I could go on a long, long rant about how that messed with them and how damaged they were and how damaged they are as adults. It's really bizarre. I wish humans were maybe a little tougher because, you know, my rough around the edges childhood that was not easy in its own ways. You know, I'm not saying I was beaten regularly or anything, but yeah, not getting into that right now. Goal number 42, create the impression that violence and insurrection are legitimate aspects of the American tradition, that students and self-interest groups should rise up and use unified force to solve economic, political, and social problems. That is more a thing now than ever. I mean, they've really succeeded with that one finally. Goal number 43, overthrow all colonial governments before native populations are ready for self-governance. That was done many times over in countries in Africa, and the countries basically fell apart. And it was allowed to give communist control to the countries. I didn't know about this, but Kenya and many African countries ended up getting kind of like shadow governments from Russia rather than the U.S., even though, let's face it, U.S. colonialism is still a thing today, or imperialism at least. The coup that we're trying to stage in Venezuela, to be honest with you, I'm still an American patriot, so I'm fine with it. Maduro is a terrible dictator. He sucks. Let's install our own guy. I don't care. I don't think... I'm kind of a fan of no intervention, but honestly, when it's someone like Maduro, get him out of there. You know, at the same time, like, we installed the Kim Jong-un family. We installed them in North Korea. We did that. The communists did it on our behalf, basically. So, yeah, if you look deep enough, you'll realize that America has, for the last 100 years, or at least 80 years, America has been ruling the world largely from the shadows, and the CIA has a much huger budget than most people possibly could imagine. Another book I'm reading right now, which I'm not done with, so I'll do a book review on that one when I'm done, but that book is called, okay, where'd it go? The CIA is Organized Crime. It's by Douglas Valentine, and man, that book is good too. Man, not a lot of people are reading books and just sharing about them, so I'm starting to pick this stuff up, and I want to share about these books because they're just like, some of them are mind-blowing, and you realize that these authors have done extensive research, more so than most independent journalists do today. Independent journalists like myself today and many others, I mean, honestly, they're going to protests and asking people questions and just showing how dumb the left is. Most people on the left these days really lack the ability to actually do critical thought. Like, they're not critical at all. Anyways, let me finish with these goals, and then we're going to finish with this book, and I'm going to carry on with some other interesting content, and then we're going to wrap it up. I've probably already been going on too long. All right, goal number 43, overthrow... Oh, no, I just read that. Goal number 45, this is the last one. Yeah, last one. Repeal the Connolly Reservation so the U.S. cannot prevent the World Court from seizing jurisdiction over domestic problems. Give the World Court jurisdiction over nations and individuals alike. Now, unfortunately, that was already signed. So, technically, the UN has legal jurisdiction over you and I. Just letting that sink in. Obviously, it would be an outrage, and people would riot in America. People would not be okay with that, luckily, because enough of us care. But at some point, they're going to manufacture wars and rumors of wars and famines and disease and just all kinds of shit to the point where everyone will give up their will to have a nationalist government, to have a sovereign government, and people will surrender to a one world order. That is their game plan. They have a very long game plan, and it is working still, even though people are waking up. I don't think people are waking up just fast enough quite yet. But if you're watching this, then you're probably very awake. You're probably very woke. And I hate how the left has tried to steal that word from us and try to make it a thing about social justice. Being woke has nothing to do with being, believing in social justice. It has to do with being actually awake and understanding the world as it truly is. And understanding that groups like Black Lives Matter or the Black Panthers or just about any revolutionary group has always been subverted by the CIA. Always. Anyways, guys. So, if you watched my recent video on that creepy Satanist movie called Hereditary, the director, Ari Aster, and the Aster family is part of the 13 Illuminati bloodlines. He's already moved on to make yet another movie. So I just want to bring that up. It's Midsummer. The movie's called Midsummer, and we're going to watch the trailer together right now. And I don't know if you're going to be allowed to hear the audio, but let's just see here. Hold on. I'm going to show it in just a second. I just want to see if you guys can hear it. Okay, looks like... Okay, wait, let's play this. Okay, cool. Alright, we're going to watch it together. We're going to watch this trailer together and show you how Ari Aster is, he's a Satanist. He's part of the Illuminati bloodline. I do believe that. I don't have a lot of evidence on my side this time. But I can tell you by the trend of his movies that he has been tasked with making a new world religion a form of Satanism. This is modern folklore. They're pushing this, subverting society with this in a very subversive way. All right, what am I doing? Sorry, here we go.
Christian says that you've got some special thing planned.
Yeah, it's like a crazy 9-day festival. It only happens every 90 years.
Hi. Hello.
There he is. He's the director. Yep.
You can't speak. You can't move. But this opens you up to the influence.
Paganism is a form of Satanism.
Trust me.
Oh man.
Alright?
It's all becoming mainstream. All of this. Yeah. It's creepy. You can tell. I mean, if you can't tell from this trailer, let me just warn you and say that this is a very satanic show. This is going to be a very satanic, pagan and satanic movie. But to be honest with you, I'll probably do a movie review of that just because I want to help people know what's going on in this world. I don't want the Illuminati, the bloodlines of them, to be able to get away with their secretive breeding program so that you can't identify who's one of them and who's not, and then let them actually subvert all of humanity because people are too stupid to realize what's going on. I think in the near future here, guys, what I think is going to have to happen for us to survive this is Christians are going to have to grow a backbone again, and we're going to have to be a little bit rude, and that's what protesting is all about. If you listen to the left, you know, Saul Alinsky wrote about this, and Rules for Radicals was all about this, where protesting is about making the culture around you uncomfortable to the point where they start listening, basically. And so we need to start waking people up. We need to start changing. And you know, when I'm a father, which won't be in too many years, honestly, I'm going to become that guy. I have to become that guy. I have to become strong enough to say, hey, don't use the Lord's name in vain around me or my children. Don't. I will defriend you. You know, we got to grow that backbone so that people stop realizing that Christianity doesn't matter. Like, people literally people where I live in San Francisco literally treat Christianity like it doesn't exist, or that it's like some evil old taboo already. I know you think I'm radical, but if you're in the Bible Belt states or something, like, trust me, it is insane out here. Like, people treat Christianity like it is taboo, and that this new religion of our society is like the new thing. And if you're basically into witchcraft or seances or any of that crap, like, that's normal, that's cool. If you're Jewish, that's fine, because you can't be an anti-Semite. If you're Islamic, then hey, you're going to be treated like you're royalty, basically. But if you're Christian and you're actually like a practicing Christian, like, unless it's Christmas time, you keep that on the DL. No one wants to hear about it out here. So anyways, I think that's going to have to become a thing, guys. All right, I've got some funny, this is my last bit of content for the night, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for bearing with me. I hope you guys enjoyed some of this, find it interesting. I'll be doing a lot more book reviews in the future. Before I get into this last segment here, I want to talk about this painting. So I paint as well because I actually believe in interesting things that are thought-provoking. I'm not sure why my video, can I change what my webcam's doing? Because I don't know why it's like treating everything like it's got a ultra key on. Do I have an ultra key on? Oh shoot, I do. I'm sorry. That's awkward. Yes, remove that. Cool. Alright, now it's better. So this is not a done painting, but I've got one done that's kind of like it, but it's going to be cool. And I'm going to repaint this one so that I can sell it as well. I'm going to sell some of my paintings, but yeah, if you like this stuff, it's kind of reminiscent of, like, I don't know, some ancient alien theory slash this modern weird ideas about aliens populating the world, and it's just ancient alien fan art, I guess, like aliens seeded Earth, like that comics. I don't know. I'm explaining art. You should never explain art, but I'm not some amazing artist yet. So the theories of what the pyramids were used for, theories about what pyramids were used for, is what that painting's kind of all about. Anyways, guys, that's my art. I'm gonna sell some of this stuff on eBay sooner or later. See what I can get for interesting ancient alien type art. Anyway, yeah. Here we go, guys. This is the last segment now. This is the home stretch. Thank you for bearing with me, and thank you so much again for subscribing. If you're a subscriber, I just want to personally thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I've been at this for a long time. And there's been a ton of videos I've made that got almost no views, and all of a sudden, all of my videos seem to have views now. You know, I don't know what happened, but it's amazing that my views just, you know, I got unshadow banned, I guess. It's just incredible. So happy about this. My channel is roaring back to life. That's just random stuff that I might come up with, but anyways, my channel is roaring back to life, guys, and it's awesome, and I'm really excited about it, because I'm gonna make more content, because this stuff I am so passionate about, because my channel is shadow banned, I stopped making so many videos and I just started doing research. I just read more and more books. I've read a lot of books. There's actually like 4 books that I've yet to make book review videos on that I'd love to share about. I've just been lazy and busy with trying to find good employment to sustain me in life. So, oh, in a previous video, I actually mentioned I want to make a documentary on why SF is a shithole and how we can possibly change it. I'm still planning on doing that. I've just been really busy lately, so I'm going to start that Kickstarter soon. And if any of you want to fund that, even $10, $20, like that would be so awesome, because that documentary is going to be the first documentary of its kind in San Francisco. The whole like homeless crisis is so highly politicized, you can't possibly talk about it without having a leftist ideology, which is basically invite more homeless people, make them more comfortable, make them more happy, make more homeless like shelters better, or like give them more needles, or give them like toilet paper, give them drugs, give them free drugs. And if they want to euthanize themselves, you know, that would be great, but they don't talk about that. I'm just rambling now, but yeah, everything's super socialist and crazy leftist when it comes to that particular topic. So I want to make a documentary that for once is not so leftist and kind of showcases what the heck the city's doing and how that obviously does not solve the problem. It actually makes it worse, and it makes it worse for this whole city. So that's pretty much everything that's on my plate except for what I'm holding, which is a paper of some notes I took on some independent study I've done on NPR, National Propaganda Radio. So NPR, which I think literally is an acronym for National Propaganda Radio. I think it's supposed to be public. I don't know. But anyway, so they've been talking about some crazy nonsense recently, and I just want to basically share some laughable NPR stories, like literally just laughable with like the insanity of the left, and how anyone listening to them is just like brain dead. Like they really are brain dead because they're incapable of critical thought. Like, you know, the NPR people are probably CIA trained, probably some of them at least, because they do ask questions that make it seem like, oh, I'm getting both sides of the story here. But in reality, they're like always astroturfing with these questions where it's all like, now this is this, right? Or tell us how you got this. And oh yeah, that's awesome, you know. Like it's basically they're just like always singing to the choir. It's not really authentic anything on NPR. For example, here are my notes. For starters, all of the anchors, and this is NPR here in San Francisco Bay Area, all of the anchors are female except for one gay male. So of course he's got to be gay because there's a war on masculinity. So they can't have any actual men on the show because that would not be part of their NPR heritage, or their nice little weak feminine voices that make you feel very comfortable and like everything we're saying is true, because we would not possibly lie to you, because we are NPR, and NPR is the new priesthood class, and you must listen to everything we say, for if you do not, you'll be condemned as a racist bigot, and you will be hated, and you might be crucified upside down, literally, and you might be drained of your bloods. I'm just gonna stop there. Anyways, guys, so what I find is really funny are some of these stories. So tonight I was listening, and some woman named Jane Mayer is coming out with a article called "The Making of the Fox News White House," and it's all about how Fox is tied directly to Trump, and Trump basically is tied directly to Fox, and how this one news agency now basically is tied at the hip with the White House, which is very far from the truth, because one of the people that run Fox, one of which is Rupert Murdoch, he's openly anti-Trump. He hates Trump. I think he's been sued for like slander or something. I don't even remember that part, but you know, it was he who hired Roger Ailes, who started Fox a long time ago, and neither of these guys are really like fans of Trump. And the only person that Trump has really ever sided with was oh crap, I'm not even a listener of him, but who am I thinking of? The host, Hannity. Yeah. So Hannity was the one guy that Trump gave numerous interviews with, and Alex Jones got a few as well, actually. But the one statistic they used was Fox has gotten 50 interviews of Trump, and all other agencies combined have gotten a collective of 10, and CNN got 0. And so they're just pouting and throwing a fit, which is kind of hilarious, because every time you've interviewed him or had the chance to ask him questions, you've asked him such partisan questions, which are double-sided questions that make him look bad no matter what he says, basically. Why would he ever take the risk? You're a political risk. So it's go figure. Can you stop being so partisan? But they pretend to not be partisan, which is just kind of hilarious, because everyone knows they are. They're fake news. The one bit of evidence, the only evidence that this article uses for why Fox is super partisan and pro-Trump, is because Fox apparently killed a story on Stormy Daniels, and they say they have this evidence because there's a story of a journalist, a female journalist that worked for Fox, that apparently had the story. Then they make the case. She makes the case. Jane Mayer makes a case that because they killed the story, they're not just partisan; they're propaganda. You can't listen to Fox, guys. You just can't listen to them anymore. They're straight propaganda. They're Russian bots. That's basically the argument she's making. So there's a long story there. And then the NPR anchor asked her, how did you verify this if the journalist signed a non-disclosure agreement to not share this? The NDA with Fox was signed by the journalist, so she did not speak to this author Jane Mayer, and so she said, she verified it through her friends. So friends of Diana Falzone, which was the journalist at Fox, who was fired and forced to sign the NDA with Fox. And she wasn't necessarily fired for this story that she wanted to cover. She was fired because she got upset about it, and apparently was trying to leak information to other agencies or something. But basically, NPR references in this dialogue with Jane Mayer they're interviewing, they reference Senator MacArthur and his communist witch hunt. So they're still referring to MacArthur as a crazy man that they institutionalized and eventually killed. MacArthur is a very interesting character. He was right about the communists all along, and he became a senator after his military career was ended, which we read about earlier, by the way. Thanks for the nice art. It's not done, by the way. The cool European impressionism stuff. Oh, you can't see that. This is my new little studio down here, by the way. Thanks. But yeah. So going on, I was just finding it really funny that this is their only evidence, right? And the funny thing is that the story of Stormy Daniels still came out by dozens of other ad agencies almost at the same exact time. So because one ad agency killed the story, they're throwing a fit. I think it's hilarious. The story came out by tons of other agencies, but because Fox killed the story, they're propaganda. Fuck them. It's hilarious. The double standards are just, they can't see it, I guess. I don't know. But the other double standard is the fact that in the story about the woman that claimed Brett Kavanaugh had molested or attacked her a long time ago, her story was totally discredited because she had no support from anybody, and she couldn't even keep her own story straight. So literally, peace officers, like the police, the interrogator, basically discredited the story as well. I believe she was interviewed many times over, and the only people that still believe her are the journalists on the left. And they say, we don't question her authenticity at all. No, like that's not the question here. Question is whether she thinks it was a good idea to come forward because of the flack she's gotten, because she's had to move multiple times because of death threats. You know, like they're trying to use that as her credibility, or the fact that there's backlash against a woman, because they all believe the victim, don't doubt them, don't question them, just believe them. That's what they really need right now. And they're trying to get white males out of office because white males are predominantly more conservative. And they shared a statistic as well tonight that 48% of women are likely to vote democratically, of white women, they said. But 88% of colored women are likely to vote Democrat, which is why, they literally said, which is why it's so great that so many colored women are running for office this year. Kind of scary. They know the game plan and they kind of like leak it to you, but like most of their audience is not like critical thinking about the fact that like this is like a way of them very strategically trying to just win office, just like the Saul Alinsky book, 10 Rules for Radicals. Like they don't care about the means; they just want power to get power, and once they have the power, they'll do whatever the heck they want. People need to start fighting this, because what they're doing is trying to win at any cost. And it gets scary, because at this point it's like I'm like in the same boat where it's like, okay, well now that means we need to start trying to win at all costs too. We need to fight back, like fire with fire. You know, it sucks when you got to stoop so low sometimes to just, you know, not be able to, maybe there'll come a time where you can't really fight with policy. You have to fight with just the amazing ability to be an amazing statesman like Trump is. Trump. Hey, by the way, Trump's going to win in 2020. I'm placing a bet with all of you watching. Trump's going to win. I'll bet all of you $1. So if you are watching this video and Trump doesn't win in 2020, I'll give all of you $1 in some cryptocurrency of your choosing. As long as I have it. I don't have everything, guys, but I have some small amounts and a few cryptocurrencies. Anyway, so the other double standard that I thought was so funny is that they shared from the story of What's-Her-Face, that shared the story of Brett Kavanaugh. I'm bad with names, guys. I'll look it up right now. I'm sorry. Okay. So the one I'm thinking of is, what was her name, Marilyn or something? Who am I thinking of, guys? You guys gonna help me out? Ты тоже привет. Hey, как дела, мой друг? I'm a Russian bot, and I speak Russian because I lived there as a missionary for my church, actually. So, как поживаете, мой русский другами? I don't know if that grammatically made sense, actually, at the end there. Oh, Christine Blasey Ford. So, one big quote from Christine Blasey Ford, which they reiterated many times, was that the truth matters. The truth is the only thing that matters. And I find that hilarious to me personally, because guess what? The truth doesn't fucking matter to the left. They're just lying to your freaking face because you're stupid enough, if you're a leftist, to listen to them. The truth does not matter to them more than anyone. They don't care about the truth. They're willing to lie, because if the truth mattered, they would have not supported Hillary Clinton. She would have been the worst person on the planet, and they would have known that she is the worst candidate for office, and they would have not believed in her stupid and evil and globalistic and condescending campaign slogan, which was, I'm with her. Oh, man. Guys, so what do you guys want to hear about, though? Anyone want to hear about anything? That's basically all I got, guys. Satanism is still on the rise. This new world religion ruled by AI is still a thing, and it's still on the rise. Do you guys want to talk about anything? I still got 8 of you guys here, it looks like, so cool. Do you actually speak Russian? The Sanspeak or Sanspeak? The Sanspeak? I don't know. Anyways, I don't know if you guys are still watching, but yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you guys paint. When We need to be better, everyone. If you guys are watching, and if you're Christian, even if you're not Christian, find faith in God, guys, because let me tell you this. If you don't believe in God or Jesus, our Savior, at least believe and know for a fact that the left does believe in Satan and they worship him. Just let that sink in. These people that are so highly educated, if they worship Satan, then that means God's real. Just a little note on Islam. Allah is not the same as our God. He is a god of the moon. He is the god of deceit. And it is mentioned in the Quran that there is a practice within Islam that you are allowed and supposed to lie when it is pertinent to spreading Islam. This is why the left allies with Islam. It is not because Islam is communistic. It is not because Islam is good for people. It is because Islam is Satanism. Communism is Satanism. All of this stuff is very, very connected, guys. So, if you're trying to make sense of the crazy world you live in, watch Destination Truth, because I will help you make sense of it, because all of these things are very, very connected. And trying to figure that out and understand how and why is the name of the game in the 21st century. Because otherwise, moronic fools will accept the sign of the beast, which is on the way, guys. It is going to be an AI chip that you plant in your head, which will have the capacity to change how you think. There's already documentation proving that our cell phones have the ability to pacify us, just like the chemicals in the water like fluoride, which was used by Nazis on Jews to pacify them. So trust me, guys, the globalists are a breakaway civilization. They do have science beyond what we know of and what we're talking about. Everything that we know about what they're doing is old news, just like when the U.S. government declassifies the F-22 Raptor, a stealth fighter, or some other amazing piece of aircraft armory in our arsenal. Whenever they declassify it, they do it because it's already 20 years old. It's old news. No one cares. We've got way better UFOs that people will probably never know are actually ours, but they are ours. Most UFOs seen in the sky are in fact American made, and the world we live in is so much more complex and insane, and to make sense of it is very difficult, but we can, because we have just enough bits and pieces to piece it all together, and we have a lot of people in this amazing grassroots, a true grassroots, not astroturfed, but a true grassroots movement of truthers that want to understand the world they live in and understand the complexities of why everything seems so messed up. There's a one world religion on the way, which is going to be a satanic version of social religion. It'll be social religion, which is actually Satanism, and it will be basically dictated by AI. Yeah, that's the plan. And worst of all, they're going to make a chip to make your brain as fast as a computer, so that you don't even have to Google things. You don't have to say it. You just think about a question, and then the answer comes to you, and they're going to try to make humans obsolete. Just trying to let that sink in. My last rant here, guys. What are you saying? You gave away your Satan when they steal your soul plate? I made a video on the CIA having dossiers on all of us. Check it out. Awesome. We'll have to do that. Good, you're Christian. If you're not Christian in this modern era, you are weak. You are so weak that the Satanists can destroy you. I do believe that. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that if you are attacked by demons, Satanists, witch doctors, whatever, you name it. There's a lot of stories throughout the world that does, in my mind, my opinion, categorically prove that if you are a Christian and you believe in Jesus Christ and if you accepted him into your heart as your Lord and Savior, you are protected. In fact, there are hundreds of stories that you will not hear probably of people being abducted by aliens. And they commanded that the aliens release them in the name of Jesus Christ. And as soon as you mention his name, they release you. They stop doing whatever they're doing and they take you back home. That alone is a huge amount of evidence that everything in this world is connected and that God is real and Satan is real. And what is going on in the universe may be super complicated, but it is in the Book of Mormon and the Bible that there are other sheep which are not of this fold. Them too must I visit. Basically, I'm kind of paraphrasing, guys. I don't study the Bible as often as I should, but Jesus talked about other worlds, essentially. So there are extraterrestrials, in my opinion. My understanding, or at least the Mormon understanding of the Bible and the Book of Mormon, does suggest that there are other worlds with other souls, and Christ visited them too because he saved them through the atonement as well. So all that's really interesting, guys. I don't know what else to tell you guys. If you're interested in Christianity but you're not a Christian yet, honestly, get some Mormon missionaries before you go listen to Jehovah's Witnesses. I think any religion that's started by some scholars that said they read the Bible and they understood it for the first time correctly in the 21st century doesn't seem very credible to me. Unlike all religions out there that are Christian these days, the only one that is claimed to be founded by God and Jesus Christ is in fact Mormonism. All other versions have fallen away, and they draw near to him with their words, but their hearts are far from him. The great and abominable church is the Roman Catholic Church. They do make their nuns marry Satan symbolically. Oh man, there's so much I want to talk about. So many stories that I've learned, so many interesting things over the years that I'd love to get into, guys. You should just Google some of it. Like literally, nun forced to marry Satan. There's stories of these nuns just freaking out because most nuns are unfortunately too young and naive when they become nuns to understand what they're being forced to do, but they symbolically are forced to marry Satan. And thus, the priests that are pedophiles, which Satan loves, pedophilia and incest and all that crap, they're supported in their church. They're not removed from their post. When they die, they're given full honors, and they're moved around the world so that their scandals of pedophilia are not discovered. Basically, it's all real, guys. Anyways, I'm just dumping all this on you guys because I've got some of you with me up late tonight. And I want you guys to stick around for Destination Truth because I want to do some fun things. I want to talk about some of these really interesting things. But frankly, I don't have the time all the time. But tonight I'm making the time to say thank you for subscribing and liking my videos because I went from having less than 1,000 with a freaking iron curtain keeping me below 900, just barely. That was when I was shadow banned, and it got lifted magically. And now my channel's grown to almost 3,000. So, I mean, that is a huge, huge deal to me. It's a huge deal. And it makes me very happy. And honestly, it makes me a little proud that a lot of my efforts weren't in vain. Because when you spend a lot of time making videos, keep in mind each video you make, even if it doesn't look like it looks like I just, start free, just going off. Like usually I do hours of research before I do it, and then usually I have to edit it. Right now I'm live streaming, so I'm not, but you get the point, guys. Anyways, I have some stories to tell, but I'm afraid to speak out. Anon, dude, Anon, you gotta hook it up. You gotta tell me what it's all about. It's something that's really interesting. I have a friend here in San Francisco, and I can't mention their name because I've tried to get them to share their story, but I have found potentially the only conservative trans person in the world. They're very conservative. Very. And it's so interesting. Their life story is so fascinating to me. I want to share their story in so many ways because being trans you know, we all, even if we don't like trans people in many ways because we're scared of them, we're transphobic or xenophobic maybe a little bit. And some of these phobias, it's fine. I can embrace some things. Some things, like if you call me a racist, I'm gonna punch you in the face, because I'm genuinely not, in fact, and I'm not sexist either. But if someone called me a transphobe, I think that's a good thing. I don't want a trans person influencing my children. I don't want a single trans person in my children's elementary school. I don't want a trans person reading my children a book. I don't want trans people around my kids at all. So yeah, I'm a transphobe, and I'm okay with that. Yeah, like I said, we got to become braver Christians, guys. Got to say no to stuff. If any of you guys want to collab with me, feel free to do so. I'd be really, yeah, no, I feel sorry for trans people. I'm not saying I don't. I'm just saying it's okay to say I don't want them around my kids or influencing my kids, like their lifestyle is normal, acceptable, natural, or good. I'm just saying their life is very difficult, and I'd love to share the story of this person's life, because they're conservative. They're conservative, and their life has been, you know, hard, and they've given me so much information about their life, and it's kind of heartbreaking in some ways, because there's not much you can do to help them. Even a psychologist, what they've told me, I have to share this. We're getting into the whole trans thing right now, so I'm just going to tell this right now. The saddest thing about trans people is that if they go to see psychologists to get help about their depression, which almost all of them suffer from very, very severe depression, because they all have body dysmorphia, sexual or gender dysmorphia. They go to see those people, and almost all of them don't actually know what to do. So what they tell them, they lie to them and say, you know what? You'll be happier if you do a transition. You need to complete the transition. You're almost there. Keep going. Get that surgery. Get that surgery. Take these pills. Take this injection. Whatever. And in reality, the Blair Whites of the world are extremely rare. The people that do a transition and they are just 100% happy with it, they're, you know, the number of trans people are already so small. And then on top of that, the number of people that can do a sexual transition and be happy about it is just a fraction of a fraction of a fraction, frankly. Even after they've done all this expensive work on them, they're typically not happy. And a great portion of them actually detransition later. There's actually documentaries about it. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking about trans people. I guess that's all I got, guys. I'm just glad you guys are all here. If you guys are new to my channel, all I'm going to say is, if you want to see one of the most interesting, comprehensive videos about the reality of pizza fence, I'm calling it pizza fence because I don't want to use the real word that we're used to using. I don't want to get in trouble and get shadow banned. If you want to learn about pizza fence, then watch my video about, it's titled Still Deceived, Learn the Whole Truth About Pizza Fence. Watch that video, because unlike most people like David Seaman, who in all honesty I think he's not the greatest journalist, he's reported on some things well. There's a lot of people out there that are journalists that don't actually do a very good job, in my opinion, because they don't dig. You know, they don't really dig. And so I spent months researching pizza fence and really looking into how big the problem is, and realizing just how the globalists that are Satanists are using the third world countries of the world and first world countries of the world, like the UK, Canada, and America especially. They're using our own populations, and they're getting away with kidnapping tons and tons of children. And yes, they are sacrificing them. And man, I can rant for hours and hours, and because I'm so happy about my subscribers, I'm kind of just ranting with you guys. But I'm gonna finish. I gotta finish and go to bed soon, guys. But I have to say, yeah, I love how woke some of you guys are. Like, you're posting some really good stuff. I love it. I love being part of this community because truthers got to stick together. Honestly, it's like, how do you stay sane in a world where like half of these beta males and these moronic people in places like where I live that are leftists that just buy up all this leftist garbage propaganda? They literally just believe everything they're fed, basically, and then when you speak the truth to them, they're like so shocked. They're like, you're a racist, you're a homophobe, you're an idiot, you can't possibly know the truth because you're just some individual, and the mainstream media is saying this, so you must be the idiot no matter what. And so I'll point out to them sometimes that, like, you realize your reaction is entirely emotional and not factual. You haven't shared a single fact. And I'll share like facts with them on certain things that I have an opinion about. I bet you guys have done that. I've lost friends about it, and it sucks. It sucks when you get in a Facebook fight over reality and how so many morons are just convinced by propaganda out here. They just eat it up. Oh man, I fell down the road. You know what? I'm not going there, guys. Yes, I saw the movie The Witch. And that was interesting as well. Let's talk about movies, I guess. It's interesting to see how culture is kind of being subverted by film and stuff. If you want to see a really good horror film that just is awesome because it's based on like Norse mythology and it kind of sticks with the mythology and it doesn't get into like trying to indoctrinate you very much, watch the movie The Ritual. I think it's on Netflix. My gosh, if you like a horror film, it's the best horror film I've seen in probably a decade. It's called The Ritual, and the coolest thing about it is like I go backpacking sometimes with my buddies, like once a year. I go mountaineering, and oh man, that movie just like struck me deep because it felt so possible, like it could happen to me. You know, it's just, oh, has anyone seen The Ritual? Who's seen The Ritual? Who's seen The Ritual? After finding a connection to the movie The Witch. Oh yeah, in The Witch, there's the closing scene of a lot of these movies are totally severely disgusting in many ways. The Witch is like how it's like The Witch is a glorified / very sad, scary, and depressing origin story of a witch. How her whole family dies and how she becomes a part of the reason some of them die, actually, because she has to at some point. But she gives in to the will of Satan, basically. It's a really sad movie. Yeah, I know, it's everywhere. You want to hear? Okay, so since we're talking about Satanism again, guys, I'm rambling. I hope you guys appreciate it. So here in San Francisco, Меня подмоду нужно утотоны. I don't even know what that means. I'm sorry. Мой русский не очень хорошо. Извините. So back to Satanism in San Francisco. So there's a store that I love because I do like macabre art. Macabre art is just things that pertain to death, and it doesn't have to be satanic. It's just like, you know, the beauty of a skeleton. You know, is a skeleton satanic? No, I don't think so. In that store, though, they'll sell other stuff that is satanic, like a T-shirt with, or like, oh no, not they don't sell T-shirts, but they'll have like jewelry with like a pentagram and stuff like that. And it's like, people don't realize it, but Satanism is more widely accepted in like pop art today than Christianity is. Like, how often would you see someone with a T-shirt that actually has like a cross on it? You'll see necklaces with crosses on them, but in San Francisco, honestly, you see more girls with upside down crosses for earrings than you do people wearing a cross around their neck to say they're Christian. You know, it's a crazy evil place I live, guys. It's crazy. There are curses on all those products. Well, who puts the curses on all those products? I don't know. Yeah. I watched the trailer of Midsummer earlier in this video because Ari Aster, guys, keep an eye on that mofo. Keep an eye on him because he has been tasked by the Illuminati bloodlines to make the new world like religion, like share it, leak it, you know. And so they're pushing all this like very pagan, evil stuff into the mainstream and making sacrifice kind of like hip, even though blood sacrifice is like God doesn't want that anymore. Yeah. Anyway. All right, guys, it is late. I've been talking for way too long. I've been talking for an hour and 40 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys like some of the stuff I talk about. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up. In case you guys like reptiles, this is totally another topic. I have another channel called Jungle Dragons, and I just talk about my reptile collection and breeding operation. Enjoy that if you get into it. Hi, Bridget Jones. I gotta go. Oh man, you know, if you don't like horror films, don't watch them, because a lot of them seem to be satanic these days, or have, like, you know, satanic influencing in there. It's all indoctrination, guys. Everything's being subverted. Everything's getting all messed up. Anyways, I gotta do some videos soon on technology, because technology in the very near future is gonna screw with humanity in ways that I hate and I am not okay with and I'm upset about. And I'm not just talking about the crazy technology that they're gonna try to make us put in our brains. I'm talking about the technology that is rolling out like now, like self-driving cars, robots. Like, we're talking about Amazon creating delivery robots to replace humans. Like, do you know how shitty that is? Like, you just want to save a buck so that you rich mofos can, like, get rid of more human jobs and just make more money yourselves? Like, no, I'm sorry. I don't want the government to regulate free commerce. I believe in laissez-faire. But I believe there needs to be laws that says you cannot replace human jobs with robots, because there's so many low IQ people that just need a job. And it's anti-humanity to get rid of their jobs and keep lying to everybody when you say stuff like, oh, but it's okay because it'll free them up to pursue their goals in life, like becoming artists and singers and this and that. It's a lie. There, frankly, are not that many people that are genuinely good at art or singing or arts and crafts or whatever the hell they do. Like, people can't act like, think about this. They're going to replace possibly half of the truck drivers in America with AI trucks by like 2030 or something. There are 200,000 people, or was it 2 million? There's like 2 million or 200,000 people that are employed in the trucking industry in America. I think it's 200,000. I don't know. Someone look it up. I Googled it a long time ago. But if you replace 100,000 people or 1 million people with robots, like, what do you think those people are going to do with their lives? You think they're just going to, like, learn a new trade? They're just going to, like, rebrand their whole lives to be like, oh, I can learn a new trade. I can become an artist. I was a trucker for 20 years, but I'm going to become an artist now. You know, or I'm going to become a professional, like country singer. You know, like, that just doesn't happen. You can't just, like, get uprooted forcefully from your job and then boom, like, find something new. Like, people aren't good at that, honestly. Like, you got to think about people first. Like, the government is supposed to exist to support people. It's not there to create its own self-serving needs like it is now. It's not supposed to be doing that. It's supposed to be making the lives of the people it serves better. And by not protecting them from AI and robotics replacing millions and millions of people's jobs, we're heading to a very Blade Runner-esque terrible future where people live in little freaking cardboard boxes, like terrible little shitholes, and you're going to be given a living wage for doing nothing, and so you're going to get addicted to drugs and just waste your life away sitting on the couch watching TV and chronically masturbating while high and not actually pursuing real relationships or real jobs or real passions. It's just going to get so bad. And so I want to fight against it. You know, I'm trying to organize a movement, and you know, if you want to join it, please do, because I really want to fight destructive, dystopic technologies. And there's really no one in the mainstream media that's actually publicly like crying out against this, it seems to me. There's really not. I think I heard about a book recently by a woman who's like really decrying the dangers of AI, and I was happy and optimistic about that. But for the most part, like Black Mirror is the only real mainstream publication that's really critical of technology that's coming out now. So anyways, I'm a digital marketer, and if you want to hear about technology that's potentially dystopic, I'm working on a conference that I'm marketing right now. It's called the Tulip Conference. Yeah, come on out, guys. It's kind of expensive, but if you can come out to San Francisco, I'll be there. I'll meet you in person, and you'll actually learn about technology that's really cutting edge, and maybe some, we're gonna try to get some speakers about talking about like the double-edged sword of some of these technologies and how we need to kind of rein back on them. Anyways, guys, love hearing about what you guys are talking about. Communist Chinese is pushing the drugs, fentanyl, patches, etc. It's a tactic. Well, it's not the Communist Chinese, man. No, it's the CIA. It's why the CIA is putting it in all the heroin. So heroin has to get more and more addictive because fentanyl is very addictive. And so the CIA has been putting it in all the heroin so that the drug addicts die faster, but you make more addicts because it's so addictive that you make addicts faster and faster. And so the drug dealers are in fact killing their clientele, but it's okay because the CIA can afford to kill their clientele, basically, their end users, as well as they're making ones fast enough still. So they've got to control the low IQ population. They've got to kill off anybody that's, unuseful. It's part of the globalist agenda to thin out the population down to 500 million. It's just one of many things that, yeah, the CIA killed Gary Webb for reporting on them. He snitched on him. Because the CIA was and is racist. If there's one part of our government that is in fact racist, it still is the CIA, because still to this day there are very few members of the CIA that are at high levels that are in fact not white. So yeah, I don't know where you guys are coming from, but I am not actually racist. So I am the type that wants to let people live and let live. And if there's one thing I can tell you about the black population in America, is that they have been a downtrodden mass because the fact that they felt they've been left behind because all these other immigrants have come in and done super well. And it's their own culture that's been shooting them in the foot for a long time. And everyone, humans are social animals, and they just want to belong, and they've been a minority in this country like forever. So just about everywhere you are, if you're black, you either believe one or two things: one, the white man's holding you down because of propaganda, or two, you're confused as hell as why it sucks to be black in America, and thus you become angry at the government. So yeah, kind of sucks to be I sympathize with African Americans, because being an African American, even if there is no racism in America, that really isn't, you still believe it. You're brainwashed, and you're brainwashed to believe that it sucks to be you, basically. So they've been forced a victim mentality, and being a victim from birth does not help you succeed in life, let me tell you. Yeah. They have been duped. Yeah. Blacks are, according to, who was it? Someone will remember maybe. Some politician said, I'll have those N-words voting Democrat for 200 years. I believe it was one of the guys that Hillary Clinton was a big fan of. He was also a KKK leader. His name was Albert Pike. Yeah, he was a senator in America for many, many years. Albert Pike. I think that was him. I don't know. I think I'm misspeaking right now. Gitmo, thanks for all the you're feeding me good stuff. Men going their own way. That's a whole ball of wax that I actually like to talk about quite a bit. but it's too big, and I gotta go to bed, guys. So it's midnight, and I got a long day ahead of me. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for staying up late with me. Thank you for talking truth. I hope you enjoyed some of the content and some of what we're talking about. I've sure enjoyed your comments and talking about some of that, and I hope you follow me in my follow my Twitter. My Twitter is TylerWarden_DT for Destination Truth. Follow my Twitter. Sometimes I post things and I don't make videos on them on occasion when I have to get something out real quick, when I don't have time to do more study and research. I'll do that. So follow me on there. And yeah, Destination Truth also stands for Donald Trump. No, I'm just kidding. All right, guys. Yeah, that's it for the night. I'm getting off. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting me. It means a lot. I've worked hard at this for a long time, and it means so much that my channel has finally like grown. So the next goal is 5,000. Next goal 10,000 subscribers. Okay, 5,000 and 10,000 subscribers. So I'm gonna try to get 5,000 subscribers by. I don't know if I can do it by June, honestly. I don't know. I have so much work, and I'm getting married. I shouldn't be revealing so much about my personal life, but I'm getting married this year, guys. I'm getting married. So I'm growing up. Anyways, thanks, Tyler Warden. Not Tyler Wood. I don't know who Tyler Wood is, but anyways, see you guys. Love you bunches, and have a good night. And always pursue the truth. Destination Truth out.